So as you know, one of the many things that the commission requested from staff and the developer was to get a written statement from CSX relating to their position on the proposed Greenway options. That doesn't necessarily seem to have been accomplished here, but to the extent that there was clarification from CSX, as reported by planning staff, it does not bode well for the project. It appears that staff has confirmed what we had said, that a tunnel under the tracks was not a workable option. Well, that would leave the developer with only one option, and that is a connection underneath the CSX bridge. This video will show why that is infeasible. Here you can see a drawing of the proposed structure for the underpass. And I say structure for a reason. You can see that it requires a roof and vertical supports. And these are required because there is falling rocks or ballast from the railroad tracks. It actually does happen. You can visit there and see it happen anytime a train goes by. The rocks do fall off, and they could endanger anybody below. So, and you can also notice that there's a 5-foot required gap between the roof and the bottom of the tracks. So here is the Harpeth River. We are facing north. The proposed connection would be on the left-hand side. Well, as we approach here, you can see that this is a moderately high river stage. This is not a remarkable stage. In fact, in 2010, which was remarkable, it was well over the bridge. And multiple times, I think 10 times since 2010, or maybe it was 7 times, the water has been roughly half again as high between this gap, and maybe even up to the bottom of the tracks. But this is not what you would call remarkable. In fact, this has happened at least once at this height since, or close to this height, since I filmed this on February 17th. Okay, so here you're looking at the exact place that they proposed the connection. And that structure as drawn would be washed away by the water, even at this moderate level. Again, a 5-foot requirement between the proposed structure, roof, and the bottom of the bridge here. And you can just see that if you know anything about moving water, you know that it is extremely powerful and will wash anything away that is standing vertical. It does not take a lot of water to do that. So here is the climb out, so to speak, of where the Greenway would go. You can see there are dozens of trees here that would have to be torn out. And also it's steeper than it looks in here. I think it would require steps or else a very, very long path, which would require even more trees to be torn out along the riverbank, which is antithetical to the conservation policy. And of course, these trees are not just any old trees. They are essential to the preservation of the riverbank. They're an integral part of it. In fact, it's not just on this side, it's the trees on the other side as well. And of course, the trees on the other side are the property owned by the homeowners association there. And that homeowners association has given no permission to remove those trees. The language of the plat specifically bars the destruction of trees for anything other than roadways and public utilities. In addition, it protects the riverbank by the language of the plat itself. Now here you will see the view on a drier day, again facing north, and the existing Greenway terminus will be visible here in just a second. There it is on the left-hand side. It stops there for a reason. You will see an existing stormwater drainage ditch. And that ditch is about 30 feet across, 5 or 6 feet deep, and a couple 100 feet long. That is, as you can see, a key part of the stormwater management mechanism. You can see the retention pond in the background there. And this is not something that can just be casually dispensed with or paved over. There would have to be something that stretches across that retention or that management ditch. Again, things that people haven't proposed or discussed. And again, that's on HOA property. And those trees are on HOA property, or most of those trees are on HOA property. Some of them are on CSX property, but most of them are on HOA property, which extends all the way to the river. And so here you have at least three separate issues. You have the infeasibility of the Greenway connection under the bridge, since it will wash away several times a year. You have the property rights question of the homeowners association with respect to the trees and the riverbank. And that property rights question is separate and apart from the easement question, which is not addressed in this video. Finally, you have the failure to provide any sort of proposal or detail with respect to traversing over the top of the stormwater management system. And here you have something as sensitive of traversing over the top of a stormwater management system in an extremely sensitive area, and yet not a single word was written about it by the planning staff, and no proposal was made by the developer. And if the Planning Commission is asked to greenlight a zoning change to the community plan with all of these open questions, well, that's something that can't be undone once it's done. It is putting the cart before the horse, and it makes no sense whatsoever.